We explained the principle of AyinBase. The Rebbe said that they're pshutim, but they're not really pshutim completely. That there is a sphirot, that they have some kind of relationship to sphirot. And this discussion continues on. But they're poshut does not mean poshut legami, mean poshut relative to kelim. I already explained, I want to explain again. What I'm looking for is that we should be able to sense and get into the ideas that we're discussing rather than the structure of the Ma'amar. Thank you. We have pointed out many times that in the human being himself there's also oyer and keli. There's a sechel, and then there is the kelim by which the sechel is being grasped. We explained many times, for example, that the idea of distance, which is measured in how many steps it takes to get someplace, this is not significant to the human being. What's significant to the human being is the whole idea that he can perceive distance. Not in terms of the effort of getting there, but the fact that he can perceive a broader spectrum than the place where he is. This is very important. That he perceives a bigger reality. Not only bigness in a measurable sense, a bigger reality in a real sense. Reality is not just what touches me. Reality is a basis of reality, motivation. This is why primarily chassidus speaks in terms of oyer. What is oyer? Everything is oyer. Oyer has sechel, oyer has midas, oyer what? The human being is able to walk, and the animal is able to walk, and what is the difference?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, why not? Yes, I'd like to hear.
Hello? Did the shiur start?
Yes?
Sorry, I forgot again.
Oh, shucks.
Ron texted you.
Okay, how far in are you?
Extremely far. We're asking the difference between a human being and an animal.
Well, I think animals have memories, unlike me.
Good. Akiva, that's not allowed.
We said many times, the animal walks because it has the ability to walk. A person walks because it senses what to walk for, it senses where it wants to go, and that it actually gets what walking is about when he walks. Not just based on the fact that he can make coarse movements.
All right. Here it is.
Did you review the
Did you see what Shlomo Yonason wrote up?
what?
Did you see what Shlomo Yonason wrote up about this morning discussion?
No, I did not. No, I didn't see it.
Well, it's in the shiur WhatsApp.
So, okay, so we're moving on from there?
We're moving on from there, right?
What I gave you was a technical or a knee-jerk answer. What is it actually? What is that? The actual difference?
Okay. We'll try to be always pointing this out. I just want to make the point. We should remember, Chassidus speaks about oir, and we should ask ourselves, what does that mean? Asking me is not the answer. You should ask yourself. You should ask yourself. Everyone should ask themselves. All right.
Baruch Hashem. You trust us now. If we trust us now, we can think for ourselves. Baruch Hashem.
They should trust in you. Now you have to prove yourself to be trustworthy.
Can I ask a question about the question you're asking us now?
Yes, go ahead.
So you're contrasting in this discussion, anyway, the technicality aspect of sechel with the oir ha-sechel. That's the contrast, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right, so that may help, just to understand that's a distinction. Okay.
I'm saying Chassidus is all the time alluding to with the word of oir. And from time to time we focus in and we make a point of it and say, what, how does that affect our discussion? This morning, after class, there are a couple of people who were not clear on some things. We sat and we discussed some things. And the innocent wrote it up in the WhatsApp. So we again brought out a very simple thing. We said that a person for resting. He rests. A bed is made for resting. And on the bed you can lie down and stretch out and you're resting. And yet there's a principal difference between the bed standing in your home, or the bed standing in a hotel, or the bed standing in the street. It's the same bed and the same stretch. And yet there's a very fundamental, profound difference in terms of the rest that the bed provides in your home or outside of your home, no matter where. This is something that we all could and should relate to. And there is something that we can all focus in and understand and see the significance of that difference. The discussion came in, this was brought in today in the discussion that we had, but I think that these are fundamental principles that open up our mind to a different set of principles, to a different domain. Originally I said, and I repeat it again, that a person has a better rest on a cot in his home than on a cushioned mattress in a hotel. And if you agree, you should focus in and say, what does that mean? Cushioned mattress is much more comfortable than a mat, than a cot. All right. The reason this was brought in is to have a clarity in the principle that you have sphirot that are contained in Ayin safe. Okay, you're jumping on now to a different realm. Sphirot contained in Ayin safe. There's a very significant aspect for the sphirot, even though the same sphirot, whether they're contained in Ayin safe or they're just on their own. Without the Ayin safe element. This is in line with what the Rebbe brings down over here, that the sechel harav is so much remote, different than the sechel hatalmid, that in order for the Rav to be able to relate to the Talmud and understand and bring out by him the sechel hatalmid, he has to first remove his own oir sechel. He has to be mitzamtzim and conceal his oir sechel. Then that will allow the oir sechel of the Talmud to surface. All right.
by removing, by tzamtzem the or of his own sechel. I was wondering how that is a productive state. Now he goes into.
He removes the oyer sechel.
Yeah, and I was wondering what's the next step there, that he now finds a point of light from within where the student is? Or
May I add a question here?
Go ahead. You have a question?
I want to add a question.
Yes, go ahead.
The Rav is concealing or contracting his oyer sechel so they can make oyer sechel of the Talmud. So even the Talmud has an oyer. Even by the Talmud, sechel is not just a mechanical thing. There's an oyer there.
Right.
That's correct?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course. Because we would think that the Talmud...
The Rav is not teaching a cat. Let's remember that.
Right. Or a robot.
A silly Rav if he undertakes to teach a cat.
I'm saying you would think that by the Talmud his understanding is so limited that he doesn't even have an oyer sechel. But we're saying no. There's an oyer sechel by the Talmud as well.
Yes, has to be. Otherwise the Rav would not be teaching him.
Right. In other words, only a cat or a robot has a sechel that doesn't have an oyer sechel.
That's right.
That's correct?
Yes.
But we're not totally out of the ballgame.
No.
Okay.
May I make a point? Okay, I'm taking liberty without any answer. The sechel as it exists in the secular world is the world of oyer. Is the active sechel. It's not really oyer sechel. There's no positive element in there. Do you understand that? It's not real sechel at all.
The oyer sechel is the positive element of the sechel that's coming, that part of it that's coming mamish from the neshama.
That's right. Oyer, light. It illuminates. There is no oyer sechel in that whole world of quote-unquote intelligence. And the whole smart consists to show you there is no sechel, it's all reactive. They're so proud of this discovery. And you fools who still are looking for the sechel, you're fools. You don't see the reality. You don't want to accept the truth of the evolutionary process. You too, Yitzchak, you're also guilty of that stupidity?
Somebody wrote this note to me saying that she can see I'm a creationist. It said, I can see you're a creationist, and as for me, I've evolved, and my origins are in Africa, and so are yours if you consider yourself a human being.
Okay. Very good, very good. Good example. Okay. Okay. We can stand on this and that. We just opened open up, so to speak, the floodgates and let everybody use their own sechel and slowly get to know what we're talking about. Okay, let's go inside, because if we're not going inside, there's no point to the Yasichah. Okay.
Where are we?
I'll tell you exactly. We're going to start at the end of the third line from the bottom. We have delved into the question that the Rebbe brings down from the Eitz Chaim. But the Eitz Chaim asks a question: why was the Tzimtzum a total withdrawal of oil inside? It should have been a partial withdrawal, just to withdraw the oil inside aspect, but leave the oil hakav behind, and therefore you would have the kav, but you need for the creation of the world, instead of withdrawing everything and then reintroducing the oil that of the kav. That's the kasha that the Eitz Chaim asks, and we had a difficulty with understanding this question. And now that we have brought in an additional point to this set of principles, in addition that there is oil in soif and there's the tzimtzum, there is also in the oil in soif there is what's called sphirot hagnuzos. Within the oil in soif there is contained therein sphirot. Sphirot, as we pointed out, sphirot means something that provides for a process of creation. And that is contained within the oil and soif. And therefore we're saying that since in the oil and soif there is sphirot, so therefore, let's go 3 lines from the bottom at the end of the line. Im kain, and thus, Yitzag HaKushya, the kasha of the Eitz Chaim is justified. Why? Because the kasha says, why was the oil concealed totally? Was it not sufficient? She is salem, that it be concealed, only the oil that has the quality of Ein Sof, but the limited oil of the sphirot, v'yishoyer oil hakav, and should remain the oil of the kav, hanimshach, that is drawn, meho sphirot hagnuzos shebein Sof. The oil hakav, which is an oil that has an inherent limit. That which comes from the sphirot hagnuzos is the concealed sphirot that is contained in the oil soif. Therefore, this question with the Eitz Chaim is justified. Why was the oil was completely concealed? It should have been done in the proper way, that you remove the oil in soif and you leave the oil that is necessary for the creation of the world. Leave behind. Why is the process different? The process was that the whole oil was concealed, and then a new oil was drawn in.
Can I ask another question? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Well, you said something either today or yesterday, I don't remember which, and now I can't remember the exact lashon, but probably you will, that when we get to know something, I think it's when we get to know something, it might have been get to express something, we get to know it with all the 10 spheros, with Chochmah, with Bina, with Das. You remember saying something like this?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't quite understand, so how do you get to know? Chachman bin Das I can understand, but once we get to Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, how do you know something with those lower, the midas, in other words? You get to know something with your midas?
Okay, very good. That we'll have to leave. We'll discuss it as we go on. That we'll have to leave for later.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you.
I do want to repeat again what we discussed already this morning and yesterday. We're saying that we should conceal the oil in soif, but the oil that has to do with the kavod, the sphirot, should remain. What is the difference? What is the oil in soif and what is the oil of the sphirot?
Well, I don't know if you I just remember what you said about it. If it's worth anything, I mean, that's what you're asking.
It's worth, if we understand it, worth a lot.
I don't know, I sort of understand it, I don't know.
Good. Don't apologize. If you understand it, stand up and be counted.
So the Orin Sofi represents the total reality, and as a spheres they allow step-by-step process of presentation.
Right.
I'm asking.
Exactly where you said that thing that I'm asking about, or that I mentioned, I think.
Right. I'm asking.
That Orin Sofi doesn't have to get to know anything. There's nothing it doesn't already know.
What is the oil of the spheres? The Rebbe is asking they should have removed the oil in soif and should have left behind the oil of the spheres. In other words, before we go on, whatever the word oil means, the question of the Yitz Chaim and the discussion that we're having is not suggesting that the world should be created totally devoid of oil. That the world should be created like the idiots say the world is. Totally a structure based on reaction.
We had like a long time ago, not such a long time ago, in one previous member, you explained the difference between a person having some kind of a simcha and a guest being present versus host who is having a guest and attends to him, like, by just by looking at him.
Mm-hmm.
In both cases, there is a contact of the atom of the source to the recipient.
Okay.
Just in a second case, when it's focused, it addresses him directly at the place where he is at. Unlike the first instance, he is just being absorbed in the environment that's created by the source.
Mm-hmm. All right. Both of these situations are speaking about oil.
Right.
But there is a fundamental difference between the oil of one and the oil of the other. Could you elaborate?
I'm not sure. I see the difference. I'm not sure if I could elaborate.
But you see that there is oir there. That's the first thing I want to know. I want to make sure we understand that there is an element of oir.
I know both. I know that there is an oil and there is a difference.
Okay.
What are the two situations again? I couldn't hear so clearly.
Situation where we're talking again back to the motion of the guest and the host. So we said the situation where the guest is in the domain of the host. He's participating where the host is. The host has a simcha. The host has a simcha, and the guest is an invited guest at the simcha. He is experiencing the same thing as the host is experiencing. There is not a special attention given to him from the host that makes him experience the simcha. By being there, he is a participant in the reality of the simcha itself, in the oil of the host. And then there is another situation where he is not a participant. He's not participating in the experience that the hosts are having. He is a guest in his home for his purposes, for the host purpose, for the guest purposes. The host invited him, the host invited him, come, I'll give you lunch. Be my guest for lunch. So there is also an element of oil. But it's not the same oil as the host himself lives in. As a matter of fact, in that situation, the oil is expressed by the host actually paying attention to him. Like you said, looking at him. And if he does not pay attention to him, he just gives him his lunch, then there is no oil. Can we relate to this?
Yes. Yes.
I can hear the excitement, and I was just as excited.
I hear it too, but I wouldn't mind hearing it elaborated.
What? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Yes. What is the significance of that oil? What is the significance of oil?
Which one?
Either one. Primarily the lower level.
The lower one?
Yeah.
The lower one is the significance is in the relationship between the host and how the host relates to the guest.
Right.
What the host wants to share with the guest, how he attends to the guest, and that their personal connection. In the other simcha,
No, stay at the lower level. Stay at the lower level. What if he does not look at him, but he gives him lunch?
Sorry, can you say that again? I just didn't hear.
I said, what if he just serves him lunch, everything that the guest needs, but he doesn't give him that special attention that we call oir?
Then the guest feels terrible.
Okay, so we know that now that we know it and we came face to face with this. Let us try to not only to identify but explain it. What is Oyer?
I don't understand this statement that was just made, because I thought, even if he's not paying him special attention, if he's with him, we say if the host leaves, then it's terrible. It's not worth being there. But as long as the host is there with him, that's not terrible. It's
Okay.
just that he's not special.
All right. The host is there, but he turns his back to him. Says, eat lunch. I can't look at you. I'm going to stay right next to you, behind you.
Well, that would be the same as leaving.
Worse, probably.
Worse, probably, yeah. So we're saying that the normal thing we use is saying that the host remains with the guest present means he is actually paying attention. He's there looking. Okay.
So, what is this paying attention element?
And you're contrasting that, Yehuda is contrasting that with the simcha, where he's not paying any special attention to his guests.
That's right.
He's just sharing it with them.
That's right. That's what we said over here. But I just want that. I want to identify at the lowest level that there is an element of oyer. And what is this element, and why is it called oyer?
That it's not merely just a meal that he's getting, but it's coming with something real. It's coming with the fact that there's a real relationship there.
So what's oyer? I don't understand your explanation of how that is qualifying as the term oyer.
The or means that there's a significance to it. Not to fill his belly or to serve his needs, but that there's something that's real that the host is bestowing upon the guest.
All right. So, okay. So, let me kind of jump in over here. We have identified something. The fact that they have difficulty in further elaborating it and describing it and explaining what it is understandable, because it is oyer, it is elusive. So we're going to try and give it a little bit more of a grasp to it, but nevertheless. The important, right now, it's important to me that we sense this in you. There is something to it. I want to point out that the principle of oyer, like in the host, and mostly in the host and the guest, in their relationship, the principle of oyer is not only in the relationship element. I want to point, as we discussed many times, if you have your home, and the home consists of 4 stories, like over here. You have a basement, first floor, second floor, and an attic. And chances are that maybe you visit the basement from time to time, but the attic, you almost never visit. You don't even know what's going on over there. And then someone that you don't know, or know makes a difference, climbs into this attic and sets up residence. Are you going to protest, or are you going to let him do that? Anybody?
Yeah, protest.
Depends how much he pays.
Doesn't pay anything.
I was just kidding.
Number one, he did it without asking you any questions. And he says, I'm not disturbing you at all. By what right are you evacuating me? This is not your residence. Your residence is your dining room and your living room. What do you want from me? In what way am I displacing you? And you say, right? Do I have to continue? If you say, no way, you're not going to stay here. And if you're not moving out, I'm going to get the police on you. You're going to call the police on a Jew? Yes. Get out of here. Right? Not going to let him stay here. Why? Why is his argument unjustified? No.
Because the basis for
Because your presence fills space there. And you said before, when he's in the attic, it's like he's stepping on you.
Okay.
You're everywhere in that house.
Right. What is this presence called?
Fire.
This is what's called oil. Oil of your presence. It's an emanation. It's an emanation of your presence.